The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
And welcome into the EP Podcast. My name is Chris Lanuti from my 9-foot homemade oak bar in my basement. I now bring you the EP Podcast Weekend Update. It's not the full 30 minutes of good that you get each and every Monday on demand on every podcast player you can find, and always at theeppodcast.com. It's not the live show that happened just on Thursday night, live from Unidad, a Latin kitchen and bar. Had a great time Thursday evening outdoors on the patio at their patio bar. The next live show, as always, can be caught on the Podbean app. Download it for free. Get more details at theeppodcast.com and join us each and every Thursday night from 7 to 8 p.m. This is the Weekend Update. It's just a few minutes. Jump on real quick, give you what's going on in and around Evergreen Park this weekend. And it should be a solid weekend. 86 and sunny on Friday, 87 with some sun at the beginning of the day, some thunderstorms in the afternoon into the evening. On Sunday, 84 mostly sunny. And those thunderstorms should not be anything like that ridiculousness at the beginning of the week. The winds were getting up to 100 miles per hour. I had trees falling down on my block. You may have had the same thing. Some people without power. They're saying no matter what, you should have all your power restored by Saturday. In fact, I'm hoping you're listening to this right now saying, Chris, that's old news. My power's already back on. I got a friend of mine here in the EP who had to wheel his refrigerator 3 blocks down to his sister's place and plug it in just to save the food. Now, if you were unable to come up with something, you can claim damages to ComEd if you've lost anything because of the power outage. That's right. Did you lose a refrigerator of food? Download the claim form from ComEd and mail it in, or call them directly at 1-800-EDISON-1. Those details and that link and that claim form are all sitting on the Evergreen Park Village website, evergreenpark-ill.com. Another cool thing that's on that website, the village board meetings, we've talked with Mark Marzullo, one of the village trustees, many times here on the show, are still going on. They have to do social distancing, so they're not open to the public. In fact, the next one is this Monday. But the audio from the meetings are actually included on the website. So if you want to know what's going on in the meetings, you can listen at evergreenpark-ill.com. One more village thing you need to know about, you've probably already heard about it on this show. Remember, you can get your vehicle sticker online now with Evergreen Park and pay by credit card. If you have any questions, 708-422-1551. The EP Podcast is brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. You need a bank you can rely on, one that knows our community, provides customized accounts, and offers just for you and me. Count on the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, located at 95th and Pulaski, a locally based community bank committed to the people and businesses right here in Evergreen Park. And now, do not forget, when you open a Total Access checking account, EP Podcast listeners get a $300 bonus. The link to do this is actually included in the show description on many of the podcast players you can listen to the EP Podcast on, and at theeppodcast.com. But just in case you don't have the link, open that account using the link bankevergreenpark.com/EPPod. $100 required to open. Requirements to qualify. You must use that link to apply. Member FDIC. This Monday on the regular 30 Minutes of Good that is the weekly EP Podcast, Mayor James Sexton is joining me to talk about an awful lot of different things. Let's talk about schools reopening and the looting in Chicago, and will Evergreen Park be prepared if it comes here? What's new in the village? I've got a clip for that before we get out of here on the Weekend Update, and you'll hear the entire interview on Monday. And then we're also going to have some really great moments from our live show on Thursday night at Unidad, a Latin kitchen and bar. Sat down with Sal Munoz and his magnificent chef. She debuted some incredible new dishes. So we got to do a little Eating Evergreen Park segment with them. We're going to have that for you as well, and much, much more. I got off the phone today with Nikki Seidel. She's our good friend from the Evergreen Park Public Library. She's been on the show many times. And she was telling me that starting on Tuesday, the 8th of September, library hours are going to change. They're going to open up a little bit more. Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., seniors and vulnerable individuals are encouraged to visit between 9 and 10 a.m. Then they're going to close in the evenings to try some in-library programming just for adults. They've cleared out a large space on the main floor, allows for physically distanced seating for up to 25 people. And then they're going to start having some fun there. They've got piano music doing Broadway show tunes. They've got an exhibit that's going to have a presentation of portrait statues in Lincoln Park, a live World War II radio hour, symposiums on how government works, and they're going to simulcast it on Zoom for those that cannot get over there and be at the programs. Plus, they're also going to start doing Homebrewing 101 with our good friend from Open Outcry, John Brand, and his head brewer, Will Turner. We've had John on so many times. And very soon, they're rolling out a plan for kids after school being able to come over to the library and how it's going to work. We'll have that right here on the EP podcast as soon as the plan is ready to be laid out. And depending on when you're listening to this weekend update, Buck a Bag Days, August 14th, Friday, August 15th, Saturday, you get a bag of books for $1 over at the library. They're doing their big sale, books, DVDs, CDs, VHS tapes, audiobooks. Make sure you head over there. They're open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. doing that on Friday and 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. 9400 South Troy. A snippet of my conversation with the mayor, and then the weekend update ends. It's next, right here on the EP Podcast, found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at theeppodcast.com. An Irish pub created by two neighborhood families right here in Evergreen Park, nestled on the quiet little street called 99th, and it has quickly become a Southside tradition. I'm talking about Porter Cullen's. Voted the best Irish pub the last 4 years by the Chicago Tribune. Their menu is filled with unique and inspired takes on traditional Irish and American classics that are sure to satisfy all your taste and cravings. This includes their incredible Guinness battered fish and chips and the best homemade corned beef you can find. With a family-friendly atmosphere, Porter Cullen's is certified by Guinness to give you the perfect pour. A hidden gem on the south side with a downtown feel located right here in Evergreen Park. Porter Cullen's has comfortable seating, indoors and outdoors. Located at 3541 West 99th Street in Evergreen Park. Learn more at portercullens.com. Joining me right now on the EP Podcast, a great friend of the show, a great friend of Evergreen Park. In fact, I've really enjoyed the new weekend updates. I hope after the pandemic is over, we continue to get them. I look forward to your letters each and every week, Mr. Mayor. Mayor James Sexton joins us. How are you, sir?
Everything's well, Chris. We're doing the best we can.
How's the family? How's everybody doing right now?
Knock on wood, my family is all safe and healthy.
What is a regular weekend like for the Sextons? What do you guys like for this weekend, for example? Any big plans?
No, we'll like to just get together. The more kids and grandkids I can get together, the better I feel. It's kind of good therapy for me. So we'll get together, have a barbecue, put that little small pool in my backyard, and I can lay in that and just be with family. That's the bottom line.
I think that's the key to this whole thing. I keep trying to tell people that the worst thing about the pandemic may not be the actual pandemic, the actual illness. The worst thing might be that people fell into this being completely separated from each other and started relying on social media. And I keep trying to explain to my kids, especially my high schooler, that you will never have a real conversation with somebody over the internet. People don't understand the inflection of your voice. They can't figure out if it's a joke or not. People get angry over the craziest things, and we become more separated from each other. And we still have to remember that in the safest way possible, we still have to have human contact with our neighbors and our family and our friends.
No question. I have to occasionally tell the kids and their own kids, my grandkids, put down, I call them machines. I said, put the machine down, communicate, look, talk. It's very important.
That's sound advice right there. Put the machines down. You know, unless you're listening to a podcast, and it's totally allowable. The rest of the interview, we get into a lot of things. Myself and the mayor coming out on Monday on the EP Podcast. Make sure you don't miss it. The easiest way to make sure you don't miss it is to be subscribed. You do it for free. Any podcast app, go to the eppodcast.com. There's a couple things in the drop-down bar if you're using a mobile device or if you're on your desktop. It's really easy to see. A couple of different options to download a free app or where you can go and make sure it's delivered to you each and every time it comes out. If you missed this past Monday show, go back and listen. That was a good get. Both co-interim superintendents of District 124 talking about opening up the schools and answering a lot of questions. We got a big response for that. If you missed it, check it out. Mayor Sexton on Monday, along with more from our live show on Thursday night at Unidad. We're having a little Eating Evergreen Park with them. So much fun planned for Monday, but enjoy your weekend now. Thank you for tuning in to this weekend update brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. My name is Chris. For my co-host Hannah Beth, we will see you on Monday on the EP Podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Look at all those people in this great suburb driving down 95th and Kedzie. What a great place. It's called Evergreen Park, but we know it better as the EP. We're known for more than just the Unabomber. Remember Ted Kaczynski? You guys might even remember that big old rooster on 95th Street. It's all part of EP's history. So listen up to the EP Podcast. You might be asking why. Because we talk about all things and we celebrate all the great things in the 60805. It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always at the eppodcast.com.